Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Maya, and today I'm sharing a deeply personal story about marriage, desire, and the tough lessons we learn when we chase what we think we want. It's about how sometimes the things we believe will save us only end up breaking us, and how the real challenge is figuring out what we truly deserve. Stick around because this one gets real. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into it. The Price of Wanting More. A story of love, betrayal, and hard truths. My name is Maya and I'm 28. If there's one lesson I've painfully learned, it's that sometimes what you think you want isn't what you really need, and chasing it can break everything you once held dear. For 3 years, my marriage to Ethan looked solid from the outside. We had a cozy apartment downtown, split bills responsibly, and on paper, we were that picture of stability young couples aspire to. Ethan worked in logistics management, with a steady income and a dependable routine. I managed corporate accounts at a marketing firm nearby. Everyone said we had it all together. But inside I was slowly suffocating. Ethan was a good man, kind, attentive, the type who remembered anniversaries and patiently listened to my work complaints. But his very reliability became the source of my frustration. He was safe, predictable, the human equivalent of beige wallpaper. Comfortable, sure, but utterly dull. Our intimacy was where the gap became impossible to ignore. Ethan approached sex like he did everything. Cautiously, thoughtfully, constantly asking if I was okay, as if it were a checklist. It was sweet, but the spark, completely absent. I dropped hints about trying new things, wanting a bit of excitement or spontaneity, but he just froze, mumbling that he was content with how things were. Meanwhile, I devoured articles online about couples rekindling their flame through open relationships. Stories of people stepping outside their marriages and somehow falling back in love with their partners, rediscovering passion through the thrill of the forbidden. The tales didn't dwell on the disasters. I wasn't interested in those anyway. I began nudging Ethan. Casual remarks about us getting too comfortable too soon, how some friends lived more adventurously, how maybe we were missing something. Ethan always nodded and changed the subject. That's Ethan, a people pleaser, especially when it came to me. After weeks of careful conversations, and some tears on my part over feeling unfulfilled, Ethan finally agreed to try opening our marriage. We sat down over wine and set clear rules. No mutual friends, no emotional attachments, random encounters didn't require disclosure, but anything ongoing had to be shared. Simple, mature, respectful. Ethan kept asking if I was sure. Every time I said yes, without revealing that I already had someone in mind. His name was Jordan. He worked in a different company in the same building as me. Over months, we'd shared casual chats in elevators, exchanged lingering glances at lunch, and he'd found little excuses to stop by my floor. The attention reminded me what it felt like to be desired. One evening I stayed late at work and accidentally bumped into Jordan by the elevators. When he invited me for drinks, I didn't hesitate. 3 cocktails in, I dropped the bomb. Ethan and I had an open marriage. Jordan's eyes lit up like I'd handed him a secret treasure map. Our first rendezvous was a stolen lunch break at a nearby hourly hotel. It was everything my marriage wasn't. Passionate, daring, unpredictable. Jordan was confident, direct, and unafraid to take what he wanted. For the first time in ages, I felt alive. Ethan noticed the change immediately. I was happier, more energized, even initiating intimacy at home, something I hadn't done in weeks. When he asked what was different, I smiled and told him the arrangement was working. He looked genuinely pleased, which made me feel both guilty and oddly vindicated. About a month in, Ethan confessed he'd started chatting with women on dating apps. Nothing serious, he said, just testing the waters like me. I felt a sharp pang of jealousy, despite sneaking around with Jordan twice a week. I swallowed it and said I was happy for him. Jordan and I slipped into a routine. Lunchtime meetups, occasional after-work drinks when Ethan was busy. Jordan was everything Ethan wasn't. Bold, spontaneous, pushing boundaries. He made me feel like the sexiest woman alive, not just Ethan's steady wife. The first time Ethan actually hooked up with someone, he came home glowing. New cologne, lighter step, that spark in his eyes I hadn't seen since we first dated. When I asked how it went, he gave a one-word answer. Good. That vague response bothered me more than a detailed story would have. But I had Jordan, so what did it matter? Ethan could have his little adventures. I had my thrill and my stability. Perfect balance, or so I thought. Then Ethan started changing in ways I hadn't expected. He grew more confident, mysterious, interesting. Everything I'd wished for him when we first married, but now he was becoming that man for someone else. Meanwhile, Jordan began asking for more. Dinner dates after our quick hotel meetings, weekend texts checking in, sharing parts of his life like a secret boyfriend. After years of feeling invisible, the attention was intoxicating. Ethan's transformation accelerated too. He started working out, bought gym equipment for home, upgraded his wardrobe, stayed out later, came home energized. It should have made me happy. We were supposed to be growing into better versions of ourselves. But instead, it unsettled me, watching this stranger wear my husband's face. One night, over dinner, I casually mentioned seeing someone regularly. Someone I really liked. Ethan's fork froze midair. That's good, he said softly. I'm glad you're happy. I lied about Jordan working nearby, kept it vague. Ethan asked polite, mature questions. How long? Is he good? Do I feel safe? His calm support frustrated me. Why didn't it sting like jealousy? Then he told me about Maxine, the woman he'd been seeing for weeks. His face lit up in a way that twisted my stomach. She's really something, he said with that old smile. I asked about her, trying to sound supportive but wanting to know more. Ethan shrugged, said I'd meet her eventually. We're taking things slow. Meanwhile, I'd already met Jordan in person. Awkward but honest. Ethan kept Maxine hidden like a secret treasure. Ethan was no longer the man I married. His confidence, decisiveness, new opinions, all felt like they belonged to someone else. When I made passive-aggressive jabs about chores or bills, he simply handled them without argument. He was present physically but emotionally distant. A new man living under my roof but unreachable. Jordan noticed my distraction, asked if Ethan was causing trouble. I lied. Everything's fine. But inside I felt trapped between two lives. Eventually, Jordan pushed for commitment. Talks of future trips, spending entire nights together, plans that made me nervous. You have to choose, he said one afternoon, between a real relationship and being a part-time girlfriend forever. For the first time, I wondered if I'd made a terrible mistake. Months passed, and Jordan's company announced an expansion to Dallas, offering him a regional manager position. A dream opportunity. He asked me to move with him. I was torn. Ethan and I shared a home, finances, 3 years of intertwined lives. Starting over in a new city felt thrilling but terrifying. I need time, I told Jordan, but he saw through me. You like having options, he accused. Me as your exciting secret, Ethan as your safety net. I'm not your backup plan anymore. He gave me 2 weeks to decide. During those weeks, Ethan seemed more present but still distant, talking more openly about Maxine. They shared hikes, books, jokes. She sounded perfect and it crushed me. One night I suggested meeting her. Ethan hesitated but agreed. Maybe eventually. The night before my deadline with Jordan, Ethan returned from a date, glowing, humming, alive. That's when I knew. I couldn't go to Dallas. Not because I didn't want Jordan, but because I couldn't bear to see Ethan that happy, knowing I'd never be the reason. I told Jordan I was staying. He called me a coward, said I'd regret choosing security over passion. Maybe he was right, but I'd rather regret staying than run from the mess I'd created. Jordan left for Dallas without a word goodbye. I was left alone with Ethan, and the ghost of what we used to be. Months passed. Ethan's relationship with Maxine deepened. He stayed out late, came home with that satisfied glow. The lies were obvious, and his emotional absence was unbearable. I felt invisible. One night I confronted him. "I want to close the marriage," I said. "Back to just us." He looked confused, then angry. "This was your idea," Ethan said. "You wanted this. Now that it's not working, you want to change the rules." "It's not about Jordan," I said. "It's about us." Ethan shook his head. "You spent months barely looking at me, turning our marriage into a business arrangement so you could play house with Jordan. Now that I've found something real, you want me to give it up." His words hit like a punch. He packed a bag. "I'm staying elsewhere for a while. We need space to figure out what we really want." That was 3 weeks ago. Ethan hasn't come back. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived at my work. Swift, civil, fair. Ethan moved on quickly. I saw their wedding announcement 6 months later. Ethan and Maxine, happy and in love. I looked around my empty apartment, the same place where I'd chased excitement and lost the man who truly loved me. Jordan stopped replying months ago, found someone new in Dallas. I'm 30 now, single, finally understanding the difference between wanting something and deserving it. I wanted passion, adventure, freedom. I got those briefly, and paid the price of losing the person who stayed when I needed him most. Thanks for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, or if you've ever faced something similar, drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your experiences and thoughts. Remember, sometimes the hardest choices lead to the biggest growth, even if it's painful in the moment. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories like this. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you deserve honesty, respect, and love that lifts you up. See you soon.